So my name is Muhammad Nakiuddin. I used to be a project engineer for construction company, but now I'm working myself toward becoming a web developer. So before I started learning to code, I was a project engineer in a construction company for the past 5 years. So I've worked as a graduate engineer initially and promoted to become a senior engineer. And lastly, in the end of my career, previous career, I was the head of department. So after working for 3 years initially, it triggered me to explore what are the options for me. Previously, we know that data was a big thing. There was a lot of talks about data, so I tried learning data analytics and also data engineering. So when I was learning data analytics and data engineering, it introduces me to Python and R programming. So I started learning to code. But I did that by myself. So I go to work during the day, and at night I will put some 1 hour or 2 hours to learn. So my end goal is definitely, number one, is to be able to call myself a web developer, and to one day, hopefully in the future, that I will be able to create an app or work in a project that create an app that I can be proud of. The main pain points and difficulties when I learn to code is putting myself not in my comfort zone. I feel like that is the main pain point. So as I mentioned before, I previously did some learning on data analytics from using Python language and also R programming. So whenever I get stuck, whenever I get stuck, I put myself in an uncomfort zone, So that is when I get stressed. I feel like, oh no, I cannot do this. So it really puts me into a lot of pressure. So previously, before I joined Sigma School, I did a lot of research on what are the bootcamps available in Malaysia specifically. So the reason why Sigma shines to me is because the commitment for the job guarantees after graduating. The working professional myself, I need to make sure that after the bootcamp, the outcome is I get a job. I have to resign from my previous job, get into this bootcamp, and after bootcamp, I get a job, right? I feel like the community as well. So it's not just about the peers like working together. So we ended up making a group of friends ourselves based on the students. So previously I went for a lunch together with my classmates. Even though I'm an online student, but I joined full-time physical students to have lunch together. I created a relationship with them. It was not, I would say, awkward at all, even though I've never met them in person, but I've only talked to them online. But when I met them, it was all good and fun. When you join Sigma School, you're not alone. You always have people. Even I had lunch with MJ and the instructor, and it was all good and fun. Well, as per my end goal and also the reason why I joined Sigma School, what's next for me is to finally finish off all the modules. I really want to be a web developer, and hoping that I would eventually be able to get a job in a company that creates an app that has an impact to the community as well. It doesn't just make any apps, but it also serves an impactful way back to the community.